Hey guys, this is Bix Weir, roadtoru.com. Printing money, printing loads of money, printing lots of money. That's the best thing for us. And I'm not joking around. The best thing for us is to print more money. I'm a big fan of MMT and any other solution that the far left come up with or the staunch right come up with that includes printing money. Why do I say this? Number one, we can do it. It doesn't matter. You can print $1 trillion. You can print $100 trillion. You can print $100 quadrillion. We don't even need paper and ink anymore. It's a click of a mouse. Every single country on planet Earth right now has been creating more money than they tell their people. This $6.2 trillion bailout of the banks and a little bit for the people is nothing compared to the unlimited quadrillions they print behind the scenes every single day and don't tell you. It's an honest faith game. You gotta believe in your government. Russia has to believe in the United States that they're telling the truth on how much money they're printing and vice versa. And why I want the massive amount of printing to go on and go on and go on? Because it'll shatter the false illusions. $6.2 trillion is nothing. It is ridiculous. I have no idea why everybody doesn't get $6.2 trillion. And if you say, oh, well, that would start inflation. That's what I learned in college. Bullshit. Inflation is controlled by market rigging of all the raw commodities. They can make money disappear, appear. It is an illusion. The whole thing is an illusion. So yes, I'm a big fan of MMT. Modern monetary theory. Print as much as you can. Of course we have to do that. Of course we want to do that. The more you print, the closer you get to the end of this bullshit. You think anybody's ever going to pay back the $6.2 trillion that Trump just gave to everybody and Congress just gave to everybody? No! Nobody's going to pay it back ever. No, you won't have to pay it back. If it was $62 trillion, you will not have to pay it back. No country in the history of countries has ever paid back their debt. It's a joke. And you're the butt of the joke because you believe in the system. Yay, I get a check for $1,200. Meanwhile, JP Morgan made $1.5 billion on their derivative bets that they would get bailed out. And they won. The whole thing is a joke. The whole thing is ridiculous. I'm going to walk you down the road to Ruta really quick here. If you don't know what the road to Ruta is, go to these two videos I did. One is called Discovering the Road to Ruta, how I found out about this secret plot behind the scenes. Yes, it is the early days of Q. Q works for the good guys in the Road to Ruta theory. Check out that video, Discovering the Road to Ruta, and then you advance yourself to Golden Oldies to the Crypto Future, where you find out really why they created the Federal Reserve System in the first place. Is to do exactly what they're doing, create as many dollars as possible, soaking up all the benefits. And one day, you'll create infinity money and it'll be over. And that day is coming close. They probably already have behind the scenes. There's no doubt in my mind that they are creating infinity money. Every country, including the United States. A quadrillion here, a quadrillion there, whatever's needed. And they tell the people, oh, yeah, we got to get our budget. When was the last time you heard a congressman say, we got to get the budget in order? It's bullshit. The whole thing's a lie. Go to the resources tab at Road to Ruta. Go down to the 1981 version. 1981 version of a comic book called Wishes and Rainbows from the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. There it is right there. That's Ruta. Shining the golden light on Ruta. Yes, the Fed talks. There it is. There's the people who created it. Deborah Carpenter Beck wrote the original short story, published in September of 1980. This comic book was made by a guy named Stephen DeVoe. Who was Stephen DeVoe? He was a computer programmer for the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston in the 1970s. Working on the Alan Greenspan computer programs used to rig the markets in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and they're still rigging it today. But let's take a look. When Ruta finds the colored flowers, and those of you familiar with the story, go check it out. Ooh, I never saw that. What is that writing right there? Another research project for me. Great. She finds the colored flowers that need the golden sunlight. If you look at my analysis, obviously, it's basically talking about going back to a gold-backed system. And the scarcity factors. But look what Ruta writes in the sand. When she finds more colored flowers by starting the petrodollar right there, the black tears of the Ruta's flower, check out what Ruta writes in the sand right here. That formula right there. E equals MC squared, C plus I plus G equals G and P, 3 over T, infinity. That's actually the final conclusion of a Nobel Prize worthy, not winner, worthy theory called On the Road to the Golden Age, written in the 1960s. The reason it didn't win a Nobel Prize was because it was being kept secret. That's what they were doing in the money supply. Create as much as possible, create it to infinity, soaking up all the benefits. And the reason I know that's the reason it didn't win a Nobel Prize is because the guy who wrote the theory was on the board to decide who gets the Nobel Prize. Amazing story. But that's what Ruta wrote in his sand. Do you see that? All right, let's go and see what happened in 2007 when they redid this comic right before the crash of 2007, 2008. Came out with a gigantic red exclamation point. This is the new and improved version. But the same story, the need for gold in a monetary system. There's a schmo, Stephen DeVoe. Sorry, Stephen, I know you watch my stuff all the time. But dude, you should have not done this. You should have told everybody what you're doing way back in the 1970s. I know you're trying to take down the big guys, the Dick Allgaier gang. And that's what Ruta talks about right here. Talking to her grandmother. That's Arthur Burns. That's Alan Greenspan. What does golden mean? Oh, Ruta, golden is one of the beautiful colors of Colorland. And this should scare the shit out of any kid reading this comic book. Ruta asks her grandmother. So Alan Greenspan asks Arthur Burns, the head of the Federal Reserve, if Colorland is so beautiful, meaning if a gold standard is so great, why doesn't anyone ever go there? And right here, these are Dick Allgaier should love this page. Arthur Burns says, because the people who live in Colorland are very big. See the big? And might accidentally step on a pebble person who visits. All our people are afraid to go there. Now, who in their right mind at the Federal Reserve would be afraid of anybody? It's those people Dick Allgaier talks about. The people who run the world. But there is someone who is not afraid of them. Besides, nobody knows how to get to Colorland. And then Ruta says, I'm not afraid, Grandma. I often play in those caves and will someday find the way to Colorland and bring back some of those colors. Voila! And in the end, she does. In the end, Ruta wins. Sorry, Dick, your guys are out on their keister. But not yet. The townspeople are still not content. Many want 2 or 3 or even 4 colors of their own. Since Ruta cannot grow that many in only 2 sunlit caves, she has Rocky still search for another opening to Colorland. So here's where we are. So don't be surprised if some summer day when you're lying on the green grass, looking at the blue sky, you hear voices coming from underground. It could be Rocky and Ruta searching for the entrance to Colorland. Dun, dun, dun. And the entrance to Colorland was blow this goddamn bubble so big that there's no way to get out of it. It's going to blow sky high, Kingdom Come, Federal Reserve Bank of Boston comic book, published January 1st on their website. I was there January 1st, 2007. 2 big red exclamation points. Yes, there are good guys behind the scenes trying to take out the bad guys. Sorry, Dick. Sorry, your bad guys are gone. After hundreds of years of ruling over us, they are gone, they are done. And we all know who's bigger than your guys anyway. It would be God. Sorry, you guys don't rule over God, and God favors those who think for themselves and favors those on the side of freedom and liberty and honesty. Want to know more about this? Read The Road to Ruta Teacher's Guide from the Federal Reserve Bank. It gives us every single question we should be asking right now as the old system fades, as we print money to infinity, which is already being done behind the scenes. What questions should we ask after the old system crashes? That's the most important thing. And the Fed didn't have answers, but they had a hell of a lot of questions. For example, one critical function that scarce commodities often serve is as commodity money. The scarcity of an item is acutely limited. The demand, however, is overwhelming. Not only is the flower that Ruta brings from Colorland the first flower of Pebbleton, but it's also the only color that Pebble people have ever seen. Has anybody been around? I mean, some of us have. Some of us were born before 1965. Real commodity money. In this, most people have not, believe it or not, most people have no idea that silver and gold were used as money at some point. No idea. And clearly they never used it as money if they're born after probably 1965 that they took the silver out of the coinage. But it was never used as money. So anybody who's less than 50 years old has never used commodities as money, just like the people in Colorland have never seen colored flowers. It's crazy. Read through this book. Look at these questions. Look at them all. It's packed with questions. Will the Pebble people try to develop new ways of obtaining colored flowers? Will they form corporations to explore the caves thoroughly? Will local carpenters race to build ladders? All these questions. Will the town's scientists and engineers start investing their time and energy to develop substitutes, seeking ways to synthesize colors, or gold, and perhaps ultimately making artificial flowers? If any of the above means increasing the supply of colors and flowers succeed, what will happen to the demand for them, to their value? Will there be a surplus? Will Pebbleton start to export colored flowers to nearby communities of Gopher Junction, which is Mexico? Hysterical. Gopher Junction and Boulder Ridge. Boulder Ridge is Canada. Mexico and Canada. That means that at some point, exports stop. In this scenario, obviously, if the unbacked fiat monetary system ends, which we can finally see that's about to happen, perhaps, trade will stop. And in this situation, they say, will the United States start to export gold to a nearby community such as Mexico or Canada? That means it stopped at some point. And did you know that you cannot make gold eagles with any other gold than gold that is mined in the United States? The U.S. Mint cannot do that. It's not allowed. But they can make silver eagles and are required by law to make silver eagles from anywhere that produces raw silver. Why does that make a difference? Because by law, the U.S. Mint is required to supply silver eagles in quantities to meet demand, no matter what price they have to pay. If the U.S. Mint has to pay $1,000 per blank round, that's what they have to do by law. And they are breaking the law. Steve Mnuchin should go to jail right now. According to Ruta's grandmother, what are the 2 reasons Pebble people do not want to go to Colorland? The 2 reasons? Well, let's change this. Hey, Dick Allgaier, what are the 2 reasons that people in the United States who love their country don't want to go to a gold standard? Number 1, the banking cabal. They're too big. They'll step on us. And number 2, they don't know how to do it. Well, now we know how to do it with cryptos, obviously. I know you're in favor of that. But are we afraid of your leaders, your overlords, coming to step on us? No, we aren't. What kind of life is it that we'd have to lead if you and your advisors that say we can never break away from their control. What kind of life is that? Do we really have free will? Was God's purpose of sending us here such that we could not do what we want to do? We would not have free will? I think it's bullshit, Dick. I absolutely think it's bullshit. I think your guy, Michael, is wrong. And he's right about the past. He's wrong about the future. We don't have to bend over and take it from these guys. We do not have to do that. And I'm hoping and I'm praying, and I got all my chips on the good guys in the United States kicking these guys' ass and getting them out of here and us taking our country back. And like Reagan said, be that shining city on the hill so that everybody else can do the same thing. Because that's not how we're supposed to live. Anyway, anybody else interested in Road to Ruta, go to the resources section and join roadtoruta.com. Check out those free videos. This is Bix. I'll talk to you later.